The induction itself is very, very simple. We'll talk about the principles and why you're doing all the things in the next section, the psychology of the induction. For now, let's just look at the mechanics of it. The first thing is, of course, as we say, they start over here, do your whole compliance testing in one step. So say, ready, some hypnosis?
Yes.
Good, we have that. Stand over here, please. Turn around and face me. Excellent, we've got all that. Please look at here. Good. Now we have the condition for it. The next step is from here, take one hand. In fact, I'll take this hand here so you can see. And all I want you to do is stick it on the back of their neck, very gently cradling it. And initially, as you're training this, all I want you to do is just guide their head into your shoulder, right? Now, they can either give you a whole balance, just give me your balance, don't worry, just rest onto my shoulder. There you go, that's fine. They can either give you a whole balance, or they might stand on their own balance here. It doesn't really matter what's happening. You can even have someone's head guided over here. But what we're looking for is them to go into an unnatural position slightly. When their head is tipped forward, and at this point here, you'll notice it doesn't feel kind of comfortable, does it?
No.
It feels unusual. It's like, what do I do? If they stay there, that shows you a lot about trust. If they come forward and then pull right back again, well, then you have a little bit more work to do again. You've probably skipped one of the earlier stages. If you've done your setup correctly, though, most people will come forward. They'll think about going back a little bit, but as long as you keep gentle, but a commanding control here. So if you start pulling back a little, just pull back a little bit, and just have a little bit of thing just to hold them there. And then you can just encourage me, your voice saying, just relax a bit more. There you go, that's it. And notice how she'll follow along very naturally. So it's not that I'm yanking her, I'm just keeping it stable, focused, and in control. So we've got the compliance testing. We're locking in their attention. We've got them in this position, and all I'm doing is guiding them into my shoulder. This is just for stability's sake. And this basically prevents them from collapsing to the ground in the case that you have a quick responder who responds so quickly that they might start losing muscle control to some extent. So this is just a very safe, stable position, although you can start doing it up in the air and all that kind of stuff too. So once you've guided them in here, at this point, you're going into the deepening process, which we'll talk about more in a moment. The first thing I want to do now, before we get into the whole deepening phase, is look at a little bit of the mechanics of what you're doing here. What you don't want to necessarily do is just yank them forward. May I just borrow your arm a second, right? If you have someone, make this strong a second. If you just start yanking this, right? The neck is a delicate part of the body. If you start doing that, well, you start cranking things and yanking things and probably end up in jail having done some kind of grievous bodily harm to someone. That's not a good thing to do, right? So it's a very gentle movement. The reason it can look dramatic is because when a person's surprised, they might overcompensate, and that can look really dramatic. So all you're going to look for is initially, we're going to take that head, we're going to guide it gently into your shoulder, and then when you're ready to do the induction, you're going to take one little finger in the back of the head right here. So let's just turn this way so they can see in the camera. Take one little finger in the back of the head, and with that little finger, all you're going to do is just tap. You see how the head just pops forward slightly? You're just going to tap this. You're not going to pull with the whole hand. You're going to tap. As soon as the head goes forwards, the whole hand supports it and keeps guiding. It looks like you've pulled the head in, but you haven't. You've tapped for a little shock, and you guide it gently back in. Gentle is the word. If you don't do it gently, well, don't be surprised if a few people don't feel safe. When comfort and trust goes out the window, this hand hypnotically comes up and does one of these things. Not a good thing. So, we're here. We've got them locked in. Their attention is on you. The critical factor bypass is basically a shock. Anytime you shock the nervous system, the mind recedes into a little trance to try and figure out, what do I do now? Now, I could shock them by pulling out a gun, for example. That could work, but the problem is there's not much comfort and trust going on right there. So what we're going to do to shock them is anything you can do. Basically, you can just shake them slightly. Do you see a little shock that going on here? What we like to do here is just take the hand in the back of the head, little finger just taps forward, and that slight loss of balance is enough for the body to go, what's going on? That's your window of opportunity. At that point, the critical factor is basically just going, whoa, what's going on? You give a clear, precise instruction, and they are likely to follow it. What's the instruction in this case? Well, it's simple. Sleep. So you're here, you're looking at them, and sleep all the way. That's right, all the way. Notice the stable position. Notice how I'm not forcing anything. And I'm going to just check for relaxation. Why? The more relaxed they are, as a rule, the more they're trusting you in this experience. I might rock them from side to side to help that as well. And then I'll just tell them to go deeper. That's right, go deeper, deeper, and deeper. Now, even though she doesn't know what deeper really means, she hasn't done hypnosis before, but at this point, it's a kind of an instinct. It feels, there you go. That's it. Now, what you're looking for here is you're testing for how much balance they give you. Notice how there's much more balance on top of me, and how relaxed they are, how much they respond to my little shifts. This tells me they're responding well. Once I have that, I can just sit them back up or stand them back up on your own balance and come on back. Feeling fantastic, right? So it's a very, very simple process. Remember, the shock is not a violent shock. It's just enough to startle them. Here's a very simple way. This is like a secret technique that not a lot of people know about. That you can do this whole thing without actually even looking like you're doing the whole yanking and so on. You ready for this? Look at me. Sleep all the way. That's right. All the way. Doing good. Great. Deeper and deeper. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Come back feeling refreshed, relaxed, alert. Rock and roll. How's that? Good. Okay. Now you'll notice if you look that, the moment we touch the forehead here, a little tap, it's an unpleasant thing, so don't tap too hard. But you notice her eyes blinked and she didn't quite know what to do. That's the point of opportunity. That's the point we need to take advantage of. So whether you're tapping here, or my preference is you're just tapping the back of the head, same thing really, but you're guiding forwards, then you have the perfect position for hypnosis to occur.